Get yourself a warm drink and somewhere comfy, and let's talk about books that are going to get you out of a reading slump. Hello, welcome back to my channel. My name's Steph and I'm obsessed with all things books. So today we're going to talk about books that are going to get you out of a reading slump. Unfortunately, I've been in my fair share of reading slumps and these are books that have managed to get me out of it. Now, the criteria for this is typically short chapters, multiple points of view, and just those books that you can just devour in one sitting. Now, these tick all those boxes. So my go-to author for when I'm in a slump is definitely John Marrs. He always just pulls me out of a slump and then puts me straight into a slump because I just know nothing's going to hit the same. So the first book we're going to talk about is his most recent release, and that is Dead in the Water. Dead in the Water follows Damon, who is out swimming in the sea and he gets into a little bit of trouble. His heart officially stops for 3 minutes, but his friend manages to get him back to life. And as soon as he wakes up, he's like, "What happened to that young boy? Did I hurt him?" And she's like, "What are you talking about? There was no young boy. You were in the sea." He's like, "No, there was a young boy. I seen him. I think I hurt him." And this young boy just follows Damon about and starts haunting him. He's hallucinating him. He sees him everywhere that he goes. Now, I found this book to be such an interesting concept and I devoured this. I also really like that there is actually a character crossover in this book from a character in part of the John Marrs universe, and I could not believe who it was. I just thought it was so cleverly done and I read this book so quickly. I do just think that any John Marrs book will probably get you out of a slump, so if you are struggling, just look at this author in general. Okay, next up we have an author that is a bit hit or miss for me, and that is Alice Feeney. I haven't enjoyed her previous releases, but His and Hers is like my favourite book from her. I absolutely loved it, didn't see the plot twist coming a mile away, and I really enjoyed the series. It's just come out on Netflix as well. I think it has done the book justice. But today we're talking about her most recent release, which is My Husband's Wife. Now, I managed to get an arc of this book on NetGalley, which I am extremely grateful for, and I just really love this book. So this book follows Eden, who is an artist who has just moved to a new area with her husband. She goes out for a run one night, and when she comes back, the key won't fit in the lock. And she knocks on the door and her husband comes to the door and she's like, "What are you doing? Let me in." And he's like, "No, this is my wife. You're not my wife. Who are you?" And she's like, "What is going on right now?" I just think that this book was really cleverly done, and I think I've seen it's actually going to be a series, so that's really exciting because I think this one would be really good as a TV series. This is another one that I read super quickly, inhaled it, and just really enjoyed it. So if you've been a bit like me recently and not been too impressed by Alice Feeney's recent releases, I do think that this one is worth a chance. I really enjoyed it. Okay, next up we've got an author that is pretty new to me. I only started reading his books last year, but I've now read 3, I think. I'm currently reading my 3rd one. Yeah, I'm currently reading my 3rd one at the moment, and that is Michaelides. Now, the first book that I read by him is still my favourite, and that is The Psychopath Next Door. The Psychopath Next Door follows this family who gets a new neighbour move in next door to them. And, you know, she's quite friendly, she's on her own, but she starts getting a little bit too close with her daughter. And the father is a bit worried because it just seems a little bit off how much time they're spending together, and he's right to be concerned. This one really took me by surprise as to how much I loved it. It had short, snappy chapters, and I think we were down in London for the day, and I remember reading, I think about 75% of it on the plane and on the trains going to places. I could not put it down. I thought this book was so cleverly done, and the ending had me shook. Really highly recommend this one, and I think that Mark Edwards is definitely an author that I'm going to be looking at going forward this year. Okay, so the next book I'm going to talk about is from the Queen of Thrillers, and that is Clare Mackintosh. Now, this is the first Clare Mackintosh book that I read, and one that I still think about on a daily basis. So this book is basically based around a hit and run that happens where a young boy gets killed, and the female main character in this is so grief-stricken by what's happened in the accident that she finds herself moving over to the West Coast. The West Coast? The Welsh coast. She finds herself moving over to the Welsh coast just to get away from it all, fresh start, and to try and give herself a chance of happiness again. But the plot twist in this book literally shook me. Like, I Did not see it coming a mile away. I'm going to try and keep the details brief because I feel like if I tell you too much, I'm going to spoil it. We are in no spoiler zone over here. So I'm going to try and be as vague as possible. But I just really love this book. It really took me by surprise. It's quite an old one as well. It came out in like 2014. So it is an older book, but I think it's just so good. And I just don't think Clare Mackintosh can do wrong. I've loved everything I've read by her, and she is the perfect person to get you out of a slump. Okay, next up we've got one of my favourite books from last year, and that is Listen for the Lie by Tintera. This book follows a girl who basically lost her best friend, but she has amnesia from that night and she's not actually sure if she killed her. But when this podcaster comes into town looking to dig into the murders and what happened that night, she is flung into the face of the podcast because everyone thinks that she did it, but she can't actually remember if she did or not. I really loved the characters in this. I really loved her granny. I thought she was so funny in the things that she said. And the plot twist at the end was really good as well. I didn't actually see who had done it. But yeah, I just thought this one was so easy to read. Short chapters. I read this on my Kindle, but I've heard that the audiobook is really good because it's got the podcast element to it and that it sort of sounds like you're just listening to the podcast. So yeah, really enjoyed this one. Super easy to read. I gifted it to my best friend last year for her birthday as well, and she absolutely loved it. So I would just highly recommend this book. Don't sleep on this author. And I really hope she's got more books coming out soon. Okay, next up we've got a bit of a cult favourite and one that not everyone loves actually, but I really enjoyed it, and that is The Silent Patient by Michaelides. This book is centred around this woman who had a totally perfect normal life until one day she shot her husband in the head 5 times, and ever since she has not muttered a word, but she paints and she will sit there and she will paint away, but she will not say a word. And this follows a psychologist who gets assigned to her case, and he basically thinks that he can make her talk again. I think this book gets a lot of backlash from people who read a lot of thriller books because they're just not as wowed from it as other people are. But I think if you go into this knowing that it's a bit of a popcorn thriller, you know, there's going to be some decent plot twists and you're probably going to enjoy it, I don't think you can be let down by it. I think it's good for people who want to get into the thriller genre and they want to just give it a go. I think this is the perfect book for that. And I just really enjoyed it. I just sometimes think that books aren't that deep. Did you enjoy it? Yes or no? Yes, I did. And I would recommend this one. Next up, we have another one of my favourite authors, and that is TJ Newman. I have not rated one of her books below 4.5 stars. There's only 3 of them, mind you. So I do think that my average rating for this author is probably the highest it is across all authors. I just really love her books. So TJ Newman used to be a flight attendant, and all of her books are centred around a plane crash. This is her second book, Drowning, which features a plane crashing into the middle of the ocean. What I really liked about this book and this author in general is that her chapters are really short. It's such a high tension situation, and I just think her books are so excellent. They're written so well. I really liked the characters a lot better in this one as well. I felt a lot closer to them and I really wanted them to survive. So if you're after a thriller that's going to keep you on your toes, very tense, very thrilling, gripping, TJ Newman is definitely the author you need to look at. And we've gotten to the last book, and this one is one that I read on audio and I've seen a lot of people talk about it. It really does come highly recommended from a lot of people, and that is Next of Kin by Abdullah. This book follows this woman who gets a phone call from her brother-in-law one morning saying, "I can't take our son to school. Is there any chance you could swing by and take him to school for us?" And she's like, "Yeah, no problem. Like, you know, I've got a big meeting today. I'm quite busy, but I could probably fit it in." He's like, "Right, really appreciate that. Thank you so much." So she goes round, picks him up, sticks him into the car. But on the way there, she gets a phone call from someone at her work saying, "We've lost this, you know, oh my goodness, like big drama. You need to get here as soon as you can." She's like, "Okay, no problem. I'll come there." So she drives to her office and completely forgets that her nephew's in the car. And it is the hottest day of the year. And unfortunately, her nephew passes away. This book then follows the aftermath of what happened and who's basically to blame for it. But nothing is as you seem. It is nowhere near as simple as that. And yeah, the plot twist in this really got me. I listened to this one on audio and I felt myself like every time I had a little bit of downtime, I was like, right, get my audiobook on, I need to find out what happened. Really, really highly recommend this one. And I think this is a really underrated book actually. I don't really see that many people talking about it. So there we have it. That is 8 books that I think would be perfect to get you out of a reading slump. If you've read any of these, please let me know in the comments below. I would love to know. If you've enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. I'm just starting out and it means the absolute world to me. Thank you so much for watching and I will see you next time. So this book then goes on to... My dog's doing zoomies in the living room. Ooh.